Going to make a shelf above the septic line. You see I'm going to be using these 2x6s, and I'll show you the progress. What's going to be cool about it is I'm going to put a battery bank on top of it, and also there'll be some storage space instead of that dead space where you can't put anything obviously on top of that pipe. You can't stack anything, and we'll get back to you shortly, okay? So we're using DeWalt miter saw, very helpful. I'll be using some 2x4s and screws, okay? Here are the tools we'll be using. So I have a square, razor knife, some pencils so I could mark some lines. This bit is pretty helpful because you're able to go over the top of a screw. So you see how you put that here, and then you just recess the top of it over the screw so you could have it in place. It doesn't fall off as easy. Then we've got the impact driver. You can use this bit if you choose, extra battery, and I got some 3-inch screws with a torque bit. I find them to be very helpful. We may have to do a couple pilot holes so we don't splinter the wood, but we'll find out in a moment. Okay guys, so I want my bench or my shelf to be a foot wide. So what I'm going to do is simply take a 2x4, put it here, right? And the reason I'm doing this is because the legs are going to be right here, going vertically. And you can see if the legs are outside here, the center piece, 2x4, is going to be 8 3/4. So if you can see that. Be nice if I can get a light on this. Okay, so to do that, look, just put this piece here, line it up out here, and then so you can see, right? So I got to get 8 3/4, and I'm going to do this upside down, and I'll show you as I go along, okay? So I'm just going to get me a 2x4 and screw it right here. Then I'll put the legs, and I'll make my way down the run here. So I neglected to say, when you're using the miter saw, you want to have the butt end of it up in the air. Otherwise, you're not going to have a straight cut over here. I'm not recommending you stand on it like this. That would get it flat against the deck. Don't want you to do that. Of course, if I can't tell you what to do, but probably safer not to do that, okay? Okay, so it's going to be about 24 3/4 until I get to the next one here, and you can see that I've got 1 2 3 4 5 6, and so I put a screw in here just to hold it in place. I'm going to use this. You can see that that is square. So once I got that squared like that, all I did was put my foot on here, started the screw, and sent it in. So I'm going to put 2 more. I'm going to do the same thing all the way down. Each time I do it, I'm going to measure the 23 1/4, get it squared like this, step on it like so, put my weight on there, and then I'm just going to send in the 2 screws on the side, just like this, okay? Nice and nice. Okay, the legs are going to be 16 inches. I cut the top one, that's 16. So all I'm going to do is put it on top of this one, make sure that is flush, just mark it right here, and when you do cut it, just come over here, move that if you like, make sure you keep the line on the 16 so it doesn't end up shorter than the 16, okay? So what I did was I flipped it over. You can see I got one of these legs on. All I did is I found where that bracer is. See it? I'm going to put this underneath here like so, and I'm going to screw that into place right here. The floor may be off some, so what I'll do is I'll flip it back over, and if I need to trim some of the legs down, I will, or I'll use a belt sander if it's just a minute. So it's coming along pretty good, and we'll get back to you. So this is what I was looking to achieve, guys. I could very easily put the batteries on here. I'll put the legs underneath there. I'll brace it when needed. And it came out pretty good. One thing that I didn't figure for was the wall. You can see it's sticking out here. So I had to cut this exterior leg off at the very end, and I'll just add something to the back side of it and screw it in there so it's got some good strength. If you like me, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. You can see it's pretty easy to do with that method I shared. You know, have a great day. So one revision, so see these legs? 16 is a tiny bit too long. So I'm just placing them underneath here and marking them. So that might be, I don't know, a 16th off. It'll be a lot easier than flipping this thing over and dealing with it that way. If you're not in love with the stability and you find that it wobbles, you can put a board like that, or you could put the board 2x4 in here. So for example, cut it to fit just like so. It'd be a lot of stability because you're going to screw it in this way, and you could even screw a top down. Came out pretty good, right guys? So if you like me, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Take care.